Hello guys, welcome back. This is Dr. Ranjith again here. So today we are going to have a unique playlist for all the questions of pathology which came in the NEET PG 2021. I wanted to segregate each question wise rather than giving a big long video which might be difficult for us to look back whenever you want it, right? So the first video starting there will be the analysis of the NEET PG. I'm going to have an overall analysis and as a subject as a pathology what we're going to do for in future, and also what we can do for future aspirants for the NEET or next whatever it is, fine? So let's go ahead. So first thing about NEET PG 2021, the paper which came, an honest opinion, it's a very balanced paper, a well set paper, right? So there are a few worries or complaints by few students. One is the paper is lengthy. I would say that paper was not lengthy, right? Compared to the previous year NEET PG, this paper I would say that it had equal mixture of everything. And even the clinical scenario cases were not like 5-6 lines, like 3-4 lines. Very few of them, or some of them were bigger one as well. So when it comes to length-wise analysis, I would say that it is not lengthy much, keeping in mind that you have been bombarded with all the grant tests in various platforms, which are big questions, right? So we trained you for a monster. Finally, it didn't turn out to be a monster. It was a very decent average paper. The second thing most complaint is given was this mock test didn't help me, because it was like mock prepared me for as I said, it prepared me for a monster. This was not so difficult, right? So students were saying that I was over prepared, so I couldn't write this well. Many students said that I was over preparing, I was reading all the rare things, but I was not strong in basics. Wherever you are being taught, almost every educator at an academy or any platform would have told you that basics are the most important, because rarity is going to fetch you 1 mark. I always used to say this in the class, like 80% of them are going to be from basics only. Once you clear the basics, yes, I might need the rarity to come to the top 10, right? So what you have to prepare, keeping this in mind for next exam, any exams, whether it's INISET or NEET or next whatever it is, you have to make sure you clear the basics. Without that, you're not even into the competition. Once you are into the competition, you're done with your basics, then we can go with syndromes, your various rare signs, images and all those things, right? So any point of time, it's not that mock didn't help me. It's not that mock prepared me for another one. Mock was strenuous. Mock was an exercise to make sure you get exposed to a difficult pattern so that your exam looks easier, that's all. So don't get disheartened if you have a difficult thing in the mock. It's not the problem at all. Ultimately, every question you attempt is going to make you integrate the subject more. So that's my analysis or take-home message from mock. Any platform, the mock exam is to make you stronger, make your analytical skills a bit more sharper, to make sure you will crack your competitive exam, NEET or INISET or next whatever it is, fine. The next one was it easy, moderate or difficult? See, one thing I would say is don't go with the social media comments, because when you have a comment on a social media or a post on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, when a student says that, okay, this exam was difficult, because when you have a NEET PG like 1.8 lakh people attending, definitely there'll be a bunch of new interns who are not much prepared. A person who's preparing for 1 year or 2 years. So I'll have a mixed population, right? They open the gates for the recent FMG pass out students as well. They might not be so well prepared. So when I have 1.8 lakh people, the opinion which comes outside generally will be a mixed opinion. A person who felt it very difficult will be a person who must have not well prepared, right? Maybe he's in the starting phase of preparation. So for them it might be looking difficult. And the person for whom it looked difficult, they're going to voice out more. So you have a false ideology that exams are difficult. No, exams are not difficult. I am not sure about the other subjects. I'll take pathology. If you're known a little bit more of basics and it was a superbly set exam for pathology at least. It's purely based on common sense, right? Lots of controversies for that. All the controversies will vanish away if you look at the question, read the question and you apply a little bit of sense. What you are doing in your internship, that's what is required to crack the exam. I would say yes, moderate to easy to moderate area. Not an extremely easy paper, obviously. Definitely there were tricky questions for sure. So moderate, in the moderate. I will never put this paper into a difficult category. Fine. Next, coming to the distribution of questions, right? So what is going to happen, and this has kind of happened in this exam as well, is you cannot segregate the questions from now on. I cannot hope we will be able to do in few questions, but not in many. I'll not be able to say, okay, this came from anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, pharmacology. When it's going to be in clinical scenario, it has to be integrated. The basic premise of that is it's going to evaluate the doctor in you. That's a very, very good sign for me. Why I'm saying it's a very good sign for me is it's going to evaluate how you did your work in your internship. Let's assume that you were sitting in your medicine OPD. You saw a case of, let's say, simple fever. When you see a patient of fever, let's say for 4-5 days, you're going to write investigations, right? And the investigation report will come. You'll interpret the investigation. You'll think that, okay, this is the most probable drug I'm going to use, the drug of choice or investigation or whatever it is, right? And you'll treat the patient. For that treating the patient, you'll have complications. So this is a patient. When it comes to a patient, I don't segregate this department, that department. It's a patient as a whole. Patient might require an ultrasonogram, radiology will come in. Patient might require a pus culture sensitivity, microbiology should come in. When it's sensitivity, your pharmacology should come in. Clinical signs and symptoms will be there, pointing towards most likely this diagnosis. Clinical medicine, examination will come inside. Microscopy might be required, CBC might be required, pathology will come in. So you're going to have a mixture of subjects. It's good as well as bad. I'll discuss them very soon, right? So you're going to have a mixture of subjects. So we'll go with 2 examples which came in pathology. This was one question. You must have had a child with a storage disorder, crumpled tissue paper appearance. What enzyme was deficient? When you look at this question, pediatrician might say, okay, this is a pediatric question. Pathologist might say, see, crumpled tissue paper is the one which gave me the diagnosis, right? So it should be a pathology question. And this is the enzyme. The enzyme analysis, everything was taught in biochemistry. So it's going to be an integrated question. Hopefully, if this is the arena which is going to happen in future, it is a good sign. As I said, it's a bad sign as well, right? So it has to be integrated like this, fine? It will be there. So what happens here is, I should need the clinical picture. I should come to a narrow down to a differential diagnosis of storage disorder. I should know the microscopic appearance of pathology, and I should know what enzyme is deficient from my biochemistry as well, right? So it is a multi-systemic approach, like what you do as a doctor, as a consultant in future, fine? Second question. There's one more question. Bulla were present only in the skin, not in the mucosa, and the frequent rupture scarring were present. Skin biopsy shows suprabasal bulla. This is a perfect integrated question. See, you forget that there is no suprabasal bulla given there. Only with this bulla present, only on the skin, and it ruptures. Only on skin, no mucosa. So I might think whether it's pemphigus foliaceous or bullous pemphigoid. Rupture is there, so more towards pemphigus, right? More crusting is there, more towards foliaceous. So I'm a bit worried. So that's what a dermatologist will see in a clinical examination. So they'll have a differential diagnosis, could be pemphigus foliaceous or in pemphigus vulgaris. Ruptures unlikely to be in bullous pemphigoid, but that also will be deeper down in the diagnosis. So they'll do a biopsy, and that comes to a pathologist. So pathologist is going to look at that and say it's going to be suprabasal bulla. So suprabasal bulla, foliaceous is ruled out, right? That will have an intraepidermal bulla, right? Subcorneal bulla. Bullous pemphigoid ruled out because it is dermoepidermal junction. Dermatitis herpetiformis is ruled out because again it is dermal papillae. So it's an integration. So the good thing and the bad thing, as I said again, is I have to know the clinical differential diagnosis. I have to apply that. I have to do the microscopy. Then I can easily come to a diagnosis which will make your answer very confident, fine? So this is how the questions are going to evolve. If this is how it's going to evolve, I would say that this is a very, very, very good sign for all of us, fine? Next, how to go forward. Like I've discussed, given 2 clinical scenarios. If that is going to be the way, we have to little bit modify our preparation. The thing how we are going to modify our preparation is, you are not going to read when you read a biochemistry, not just the enzyme analysis alone. I'm going to picturize a patient. I'm going to picturize a pediatric patient coming to a pathological diagnosis or a biochemical diagnosis. You have to imagine yourself that you are a doctor, you are the person in charge sitting on the driver's seat, and I'm going to arrive to a diagnosis or management or a complication of the management. You have to modify it. Hopefully more and more integration happens. Mostly the abroad exam has lots of integrated stuff. That's what it has evolved. So the analytic skill of a doctor hopefully will be tested in the future exams than the memorizing skill. I'm not saying that memorizing skill is not required. If you look at the previous question, you need to know the differential diagnosis of a bullous disorder. It's memory. You need to know that which bullous disorder causes which lesion. Again, memory. You need to know that the enzyme in the Gaucher's disease. Again, memory. So it's equal amount of memory plus application skill. That's more important if the exam is going forward with that, we'll look at an open mind. A person who has spent more time in the hospital diagnosing a person, evaluating a patient, treating a patient will be at an advantage over a person who's going to just read the books. Hopefully it'll be useful for all the doctors in future. Fine. Next, we'll come back to pathology. So what am I going to do in pathology now, right? So fortunately or unfortunately, that most of the investigations which is done in a hospital-based setting, that's mostly going to be your patient diagnosis, will have one component of pathology involved. So I want you to have a basic ideology of general pathology, apply that to your systemic pathology, and read hematology as a separate entity. You cannot remove this subject, or in fact radiology, or in fact any lab medicine, from a patient totally. Once you remove it, you will not be able to come to a perfect diagnosis. So when you're going to read pathology in future, I want you to always keep it in notion, I have to arrive to a diagnosis. I'm not going to read facts. I don't want the most common. I need to come to a diagnosis. Most commons you'll already know, sensitive specific you'll already know. My focus is either the next step or what I'm going to do in diagnosis. You have to change your preparation. We at Unacademy also will help you to change the preparation with lots of integrated classes. So when you look at the distribution of, there were hardly 22 hardcore questions in pathology. I've taken 22 questions for the simple reason that if I'm saying that I'll taken questions only which says that the diagnosis or the marking is based on a pathological finding. Others have ignored it. There'll be lots of overlap. I just want to restrict myself saying that, okay, this question cannot be answered without the input from the pathology department or the microscopy or whatever it is. Only those I've taken as pathology questions. Other things I've ignored it, right? That way, I had 5 questions in general pathology, which is a bit less, right? Good. That's a good sign. Because when you see general pathology with lots of interleukins, I was very, very happy when you didn't have interleukin 4, 5 and all those things. Hypersensitivity reactions was not there. It was a very happy moment for me. No memory based thing in general pathology came. Good for me. And all the general pathology question had a clinical scenario. It was linked, like benzene related cancer. It was a neoplasia chapter, but it was linked to a cancer, right? So it's completely linked. Hematology and blood transfusion had 8 questions. Equal distribution for your platelets, your RBC as well as WBC. One strange thing which I found is, based on the recalls, there are no questions in blood transfusion, which is unlikely. Hopefully that will come in future as well, because blood transfusion is integral part of any clinical practice, right? It will come for sure. Systemic pathology had 9 questions. Again, all of these questions, when I'm creating a patient, it will be overlapping with other findings. So that is going to be an advantage for us. So you might come to a most probable answer with the help of other inputs, fine? So with this information, I'm just going to use a SWOT analysis. Generally, SWOT analysis is used for businesses, right? So I want you to apply that same SWOT analysis for our NEET PG preparation, so that in future, next or NEET, whatever it is, I want you to know the strength, weaknesses, opportunities and threats and go forward for the victory sign, fine? So coming to strength and weaknesses, I'd say both means the same. The strength here is, if I'm very strong in clinical medicine, I might be able to narrow down the options. Or if I'm very strong in pathology, I might be able to narrow down the options. The strength is, for a student who is not, see, when I take any student, you're not comfortable with all 19 subjects, right? You'll definitely have a subject which you're not so comfortable with, you'll try to ignore that. That becomes your strength now. So I can ignore a part of a subject and then I still might be able to narrow down the options. That's my strength. I would say weakness is also that. As I said, I can narrow down the options. I cannot give the correct answer. Like same the bullous disorder question. Clinically, if your passion is dermatology, we can easily diagnose it's pemphigus from clinical information of an bulla in the skin, which easily ruptures and results in scar. Unlikely to be pemphigoid, right? You can narrow down its pemphigus, but the question there is, it's foliaceous or vulgaris. With history alone, it looks like foliaceous a little bit, easy rupture. But when it comes to the pathology, where the integration starts in, it's pemphigus vulgaris because of the suprabasal bulla. So weakness is also that. So what has happened with this type of question is, the examiner with one question is testing multiple parts of your brain or multiple subjects here. So you have to be strong in them. Not in the factual base, in the application base. So strength as well as weakness becomes the same here. So opportunities, what are available? So I want to talk about the opportunities we are going to do it at Unacademy in future. So we are coming up with integrated model subjects. So where we want to discuss a case-based scenario, Rather than reading it as an anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, microbiology, medicine, surgery, radiology, and everything, we are going to divide them into cardiovascular system, nervous system, so it becomes very easy for you to grasp the knowledge and to implement it so that you can come to a correct answer or maybe a correct diagnosis in future. So that's what an opportunity will be there with Unacademy. And prep ladder videos are also there if you want a plus subscription. Fine. What's a threat here? Threat, I don't want it, right? Threat is never a threat. If I want to put something as a threat, I would say that competition is going to be more. And I'm really not sure what next is baking in the store. We have to have our MD more responsive to us. They have to tell us what is there a little bit in advance so that we can modify our preparation and go ahead. But I'm not finding it a threat, because if you're strong in your subject, whatever is thrown at you, you are going to hit a 6. The thing is knowledge. The knowledge, if it is perfect, that MB thing, when the exam is, what schedule is, what pattern is immaterial. I want you to read perfectly. And one thing I might consider as a threat is you have to start reading from your first year. From your first year, I have to see in the views of a consultant, in the views of a patient. You cannot skip your postings. You cannot skip your ward discussions. You cannot skip your internship. That I will feel, okay, that should not be a threat ideally. For a student, yeah, you have to work. Then attending an exam, answering an exam becomes very simple for you, right? Again, it's like a threat, but I'll put it as a strength, right? That's what we do as a doctor during internship. If you do that properly, yes, you're going to be in the driver's seat, fine. So that was the video, the discussion about NEET PG analysis. I am going to put forward all the 22 questions in pathology in different videos. All of them will be available in the same playlist, right? And we'll be having series of free lectures, special classes targeted for FMG. The complete course will be in the form of a special class. So do follow me in the Unacademy app at PathoCups, and let's rock the next upcoming session. Do like and subscribe the video and subscribe to the channel, and in the playlist you can see everything will be marked with question 1, question 2, and in the title I'll say what question I'm going to discuss as well. So you need not go and waste time going through or scanning through the 1 hour video. Where is the question I wanted to? We'll have all the questions labeled in the title so that you can watch whatever you want. Fine. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. It's bye-bye from Dr. Ranjith, and see you soon in the NEET PG discussion videos. Till then, bye-bye. Stay healthy, stay safe, and all the very best. You are going to succeed. Thank you.